Thanks, guys.
Just one more question.
Sure.
Just on another issue, there's been increasing speculation over the last, week or so about the liquor bans in Fitzroy Crossing being extended. Some people are saying across the whole of the Kimberley. Michelle Roberts wants them across the whole of the Kimberley. Can we expect any announcement in the coming days while you're here on liquor restrictions? Have you got any thoughts on the whole Kimberley ban?
Yes, I think the Fitzroy Crossing bans have worked, and the statistics show that. There's been a dramatic improvement in social issues in Fitzroy, but we have to make sure that every location has got an approach or a solution that is tailored for that location. And before you apply broad brush approaches to anything, you need to have a close look at what the dynamics are in each location and what's going to work and what will fail. I personally would like to see the liquor bans extended to other places, but you need to have a good understanding of where it's going to work first before you just go ahead and do that.
So each town needs to be assessed on its merits?
Absolutely.
Called Kate Riley died, she was 14, waiting for a heart transplant. Her mother's called for an opt-out scheme where people are automatic organ donors and then they can opt out if they don't want to do it. Would you support such a scheme?
I will support anything which will increase the number of organ donors. A very good friend of both the Premier and mine died while waiting for a heart transplant a number of years ago, and that's given us a passion to do whatever we can do. It's all about doctors and other health professionals in intensive care talking it through with the families. If we get more people to go onto the organ donor register, more families discussing organ donation, that is how we will get more people to actually become organ donors. Behind every successful organ transplant lies a tragedy, and that is the death of somebody who has given up their organs for transplantation. It's a very difficult decision for the families. Whatever will work in increasing, even by one, the number of organ donors, we'll do it.
So you look at it?
Happily look at it, but there might be more effective strategies.
One component of it you have to be extremely careful of here. We are prepared to look at any option that helps people who are in need of organ transplant, and the opt-out option is one that is being discussed now publicly, but it is a matter of high sensitivity. There's a great deal of sensitivity behind this issue, and we need to be aware of the public response to such a proposal and to work with the public of Western Australia on that matter. It does provide us with a potential way forward, but it would be extremely sensitive and has to be treated that way.
Last week, Jenny Macklin and Michelle Roberts were touring the region.
Yes.
They signed an agreement to commit to more funding for carers for people undergoing alcohol rehabilitation. With the alcohol ban in Fitzroy and perhaps more bans or restrictions on alcohol being increased in other areas, do you think that 2 residential rehabilitation centres in the whole of the Pilbara and the Kimberley is enough?
We'll always look to what local people advise us is necessary when it comes to dealing with these problems of addiction, both alcohol and drugs. They wreak havoc on the community, and I think the initiatives that have been taken so far in Fitzroy Crossing have been tremendously successful. What we want to do now is to make sure that we've got all of the supports, the backups, rehabilitation centres that will work. We're interested in things that work. We're not interested in statistics as such.
So you don't think residential rehabilitation centres work?
All I'm saying to you is that what I want to do is to get the advice back from the experts as to what is going to achieve good outcomes. That's the basis of our decision on these matters. What we want to do is to look at evidence-based healthcare. If we need another rehabilitation centre in the Kimberley, then we'll certainly look at doing that.
National Alcohol Alliance has called on all premiers today to sign off on new guidelines reducing the number of outlets selling alcohol to try and curb binge drinking. Do you think we need that kind of action in Western Australia?
Well, we are taking that sort of action to an extent in Western Australia. We recognise that alcohol abuse is a major factor in complete dysfunction in some communities. And even before Fitzroy Crossing, there were accords in a lot of the communities in the towns around the Kimberley to restrict the opening times, the packaging arrangements that were able to be entered into in any one liquor outlet. So I think most people around Australia would look at Western Australia and say there is a way that other states might want to follow. You have to be careful, obviously, about not assuming that the solution for one location is the solution for every location. You have to also be careful that you don't single out Aboriginal people and then broad brush all Aboriginal people as being unable to drink, because that takes us back to 30 or 40 years to a point in time which Australia has left behind well and truly.
Are you concerned there's been problems obviously getting enough doctors in country areas? Are you concerned that doctors in Narrogin are burned out and that they're actually refusing patients?
Sorry. Well, if that is the case, then if that was the case, I would be concerned. I don't have any detail about that. But we do have issues about getting professionals of all sorts into our country locations. We are working feverishly to make sure that we provide top quality medical facilities in all of our regional centres and good accommodation. But in the circumstances we're living in Western Australia at the moment, we are suffering from a chronic labour shortage, labour skills shortage right across the board, and that is affecting almost every area of activity, private sector and the public sector. However, I'm sure that if there are these issues affecting health delivery in Geraldton, then if they are presented to us in government, then we'll have to try and we will do everything we possibly can to try and resolve them.